All right, my name's Trevor Hoyles. I'm 43 years old, right? Yeah.
I think you're 42.
I'll be 43 in October. I work for a company called Geoengineers. I'm what's called a geotechnical engineer. I focus on mitigating landslides, work for pipeline companies. Michelle?
That's exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm Michelle Hoyles. And I was an elementary school teacher for 15 years before Trevor and I had our first baby. And I started to become a stay-at-home mom. So I'll go back to teaching eventually, but I'm on a little hiatus here. Well, as far as moving goes, we, as you may have heard, are moving from the house that Trevor's standing in now, which is in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we are relocating to Cary, North Carolina. It was a choice for us to move. We wanted to be closer to family. Everybody's kind of aging, and our kids are without their grandparents. So we decided that we wanted to be closer to them. My family's in Florida, and Trevor's in Tennessee. And after a lot of research and a lot of visits, we realized that North Carolina was a wonderful middle ground. It's got both mountains that Trevor loves. I do too, but that was his main thing. And I grew up in Florida and always loved the beaches when I was a little girl and wanted that for my boy. So North Carolina is kind of a great mix of both. And I think Trevor feels that way at this point. But I'll let him weigh in.
Yeah, well, she says at this point because I've had a bit of anxiety about moving back east. I moved out west in 9th grade and feel at home out west in the mountains, not as many people. So I was a little bit anxious about going back east. I am warming up to it. It will be nicer to be close to family.
So as far as who my house hunting partner is, we just met him. That would be my husband, Trevor. And as far as the experience goes and what we would each bring to it, as far as personalities go, we have a lot of things in common. I would say the main difference would be that I probably operate a little more on a feeling. When I walk into a place, I kind of know the layout is always really important to me, the flow of things more than necessarily that it ticks these boxes. And I would say that Trevor is a lot more analytical. He's a lot more indecisive than I am, and even when he makes a decision, he tends to question it repeatedly and never really just have that satisfied feeling. Whereas when I make a decision, I am done.
Okay, yeah, I can buy that, yeah. And Michelle is my house hunting partner as well, and I guess I would generally agree with that. I think that what she brings to the table is, I think she has good taste in lines and color and architecture, and for the most part we agree on that. Not always, but for the most part.
And as far as the wish list of things that we would want, the house that we've been in, it was a great house for our family. It had a huge backyard, a huge chef's kitchen. We didn't necessarily expect that we would get those things again, but definitely a good layout I was not going to give up on. And then moving to the south, one of my most favorite things was the idea that we were going to finally get kind of some architecture. I feel like everything in Utah kind of ranch feeling and some mid-century modern type things, which is what our house was. And while it had a great layout and it had some great features, it was very, very stark as far as architecture goes, and I was very excited about the Southern Plantation style houses with their big front porches, most importantly their screen porches in the back, having crown molding, and actual details in your house was something that I was super excited about. Trevor was excited about little different things.
Well, the last two houses that we've owned, we've had to remodel. They were both quite dated and needed to be updated. And of course there's a lot of work that goes into that. And so I was been kind of excited about getting perhaps a new house this time around and not having to do any work with it. So yeah, that's kind of my hope. The challenge is that it's tough to find a newer home with a larger yard and perhaps in a more mature neighborhood. So that's sort of the challenge for what I'm looking for, because I don't care for these postage stamp lots in these new neighborhoods where all the houses are crammed in together. So I kind of want my cake and eat it too, to be honest.
And I would want that for him. I honestly was the one who kind of precipitated the move, and since Trevor was a little bit hesitant, it's important to me, not just for our family to be closer to family and getting to live in the South and be by the mountains and oceans, but obviously that Trevor sees that it's great as well, and is really happy here. So I want to make sure that it's a house that he's excited about as well. So as far as architectural styles that we want and don't want, like I said, I was Southern Plantation, and Trevor has always been focused more on either the mid-century modern like we've had, or craftsman style, or the newer home, which remind us a little bit of our time we spent together in Oregon as well. But as far as what we didn't want, I'm trying to think, can you think of any like architectural styles? I think it was more things about the house, more house details than architectural styles to stay away from. Although I guess I would say, well, a lot of women love Victorians. I'm not a big Victorian. I don't like quite so much flouncy, like a cleaner look.
Yeah, I think we're
architectural styles do we want to?
Yeah, I don't care for that style either. Should we talk about what features that we're looking for in a house specifically inside?
Yeah, and some other things that I guess they were asking about what our turnoffs were when we walked into a house. I know you had some specific ones, but things that, like Trevor mentioned, we've had to remodel several houses. I actually, as a single girl, had a couple houses even before I met Trevor, and done many remodeling jobs, and have always despised popcorn ceilings. And I swear every house I have ever purchased, I have had to deal with popcorn ceiling removal, and that is something that, would be a deal breaker for me to live in a popcorn ceiling house. So I'm okay if it has it, but it will definitely have to be removed. And I'm not a big fan of the old brass fixtures. I feel like they come up a lot too. And the hideous plastic light switch things, which are in every house. That's something Trevor agrees on too. We're always fixing our hardware and our little, the jewelry in the house.
Those are easy to fix though.
Can you talk about the things that you hated about the North Carolina houses during our hunt? With the room layout, you thought they were all the same?
Well, yeah, so when we went there looking around, it seemed like as far as the houses in the mature neighborhoods that we liked, they were mostly built in the 80s and 90s, and they all seemed to follow the same exact floor plan, which was a very compartmentalized, boxy. You walk in, it's got the dining room on the left, the living room on the right, and then you've got the kitchen past that, and then the family room on the, it's like the downstairs is divided into this sort of quadrants of 4 rooms, and it's the exact same layout in all the houses.
I don't mind the 4 rooms.
Yeah, see, I can't stand it. I'd like to have an open floor plan. It's a little too claustrophobic having all the separate rooms. So, unfortunately, we're not
I just feel like if every room has a purpose, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it being intimate.
Well, so hopefully we can find a middle ground, or maybe we have the family room in the.
I'm a use of space girl, I guess I would say.
Yeah, and maybe we can find a middle ground where there's a family room and a kitchen that are open to each other, but then you have the other 2 rooms. So, so that's a big one for me. I don't care for low ceilings. We kind of had to deal with that in our house here. Didn't care for it. I'm not huge. It doesn't have to be vaulted ceilings, but I'd like to have some taller ceilings than the standard 8-footers. All right, so just while we were talking about what we don't want in the house, I want to just mention really quick what I'm sort of a must-have is I'm really an audiophile, and I just have to have a home theater room to watch movies with my home theater equipment and my audio equipment.
Your family.
Yes.
Your family.
Yes, they can come too. Yeah. So that's very important to me. I want there to be a room that we can have a home theater in. So that's sort of my must-have. What do you have to have, Michelle?
Yeah, you want the open floor plan and you want a home theater, which is not in the open floor plan, but its own separate room.
Right.
Yes?
It's true. Yeah, sure.
Okay. And the things that I am looking for, like I said before, is I'm so excited about porches and the weather here being great for 9 months of the year. I didn't have a screen porch to take advantage of that. I would find that an utter tragedy. A front porch would be lovely as well to be able to meet the neighbors in the community. We have two little boys, so to be able to watch them riding the bikes out while we're having nice tea and our front porch. Sounds pretty idyllic to me.
Does sound nice. Okay, so
If I get my porch.
dream home.
So your dream home.
Yeah. Okay. So my dream home.
Theater. What else would it be?
My dream home would be an original Frank Lloyd Wright. That's definitely my favorite style. And if there's no budget, might as well go big. So
My dream home would be on some acreage. It would have a long driveway, tree lines, curving. Perhaps I would be passing a pond. And a lamb or two might be frolicking out in my yard.
a farm.
And I pull around, and then suddenly, ooh la la, there's a hill, and my southern plantation home is at the top of the hill. You see the porch, which wraps around the entire house, and it's beautifully constructed. All of the architectural details are there, the trim, windows, and doors, everything is artisan constructed, yet with southern style.
All right, well, that's our introduction. Really appreciate you spending the time hearing our tale of house hunting.
And I am a house hunter nut, hence why we applied this time. So it would be so much fun to work with you guys. We'd love to be a part of the show.
Yep.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks. Hi there. We're at our house in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm going to give you a tour of our fabulous kitchen. So when we bought this house, we bought it from a woman that was a kitchen designer, and she did an incredible job remodeling this kitchen in the late 80s. When we got here though, it was a little dated, so we made a few improvements. We put in this colorful glass backsplash, and we put in some new appliances, a new dishwasher, a gas cooktop, and a new range. One thing that we have not touched though are these fantastic St. Charles cabinets. These are powder coated steel, and in addition to having some good clean, nice lines, very simple, they have these great organizational details, like these drawers that pull out and have a sugar and flour bin, and we have big cupboards with drawers here that pull out. It's just a very functional space. One other thing that we will really miss is this great Sub-Zero fridge and freezer combo. It is absolutely huge. Everything's very accessible. They're not super deep, but very wide, so it's really easy to get to everything. So I imagine we will probably never have a fridge and freezer that nice again, but we'll survive. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tour. Bye now.
Okay, so here we are. You just got done seeing Trevor give you a tour of the kitchen of our house in Utah that we just sold and are going to miss. We knew when we moved that we'd probably never in our lives have a kitchen that fabulous again. And here we are in our rental, so I'm going to give you a little tour of the kitchen here and show you how shocking our lives have changed. And we are so excited to find a new house and be back to a regular size kitchen. Although again, I've been watching your tiny house show and I realized that comparatively I have nothing to complain about. So here goes. I'm gonna have to switch the camera over so that you can see the things that I'm talking about on my tour. So from almost 4,000 square feet to about 700 square feet in the apartment now, I think that this apartment is pretty close to the size of our old kitchen. And here is our kitchen. It's nothing to complain about, but it's a little bit smaller than what we're used to. This, as you can see, is no side-by-side commercial Sub-Zero. Not cooking with gas anymore. I've actually always been curious about this type of I don't know if it's called induction or whatnot, but the flat top surface being maybe a lot easier to clean, but I've actually found that not to be the case. And as you can see, my little work triangle, very cozy and handy. And probably the most important piece of the kitchen is one that came with me. We lived in Oregon for a long time, so both Trevor and I really enjoy our coffee, and our fabulous coffee machine had to come with us. So probably the saddest part as far as, you know, just not being in our home anymore is probably the storage. So you can see this lovely white area here. When I open it up, not exactly a walk-in pantry anymore, but ooh la la, look at that. My washer and dryer, oh so handy. And the pantry, randomly behind the washer and dryer is where we store our food. And look, it's recycling and trash too. Fantastic stuff, I know. So there it is. I think that about wraps it up. The kitchen in the rental.